wondering, hey, what's going on? I'm not seeing it. Please bear with me. It's been a peculiar kind of day, and I'm actually speaking with you from the car. As crazy as that sounds, only for a couple of minutes. And if you can bear with me, we definitely will have the live stream up and going shortly. In the meantime, we are on the radio. We are on the air. And this evening, it's going to be kind of interesting all the way around because I've got an hour show, which is kind of fun. As you know, I usually go on the air at 6:30 p.m., but this evening we started at 6. Maybe it's just God's ways of saying slow down. What can I tell you? But I do have a lovely guest this evening. A lot of you in the South Florida area, as well as in other areas actually, know Kelly Keisha. Hopefully I'm saying the name correctly. I always meant to ask her if it's Kusha or Keisha, but I believe it's Keisha. She's a phenomenal woman. You talk about a powerhouse, a wise woman, an individual who, like most of us, has gone through different difficulties in our life and overcome. But more important is her heart. And she has the ability to come from that heart space and help other women become empowered, help other women see what their direction in life is, and help them recognize the right way to market, the right way to allow themselves to envision their ideas. Over the time that I've known Kelly, I've seen her in different capacities. One time she was helping out with a fundraiser. Another time she's doing a social event. Another time it's strictly marketing. Another time it's all about empowerment. But they all work together because, again, she comes from that heart space. So without further ado, hi, Kelly.
Hi, Halley. How are you?
I'm great. How's it feel to be in the studio while I'm in the car?
It's quite interesting. It's all good.
Oh, my goodness. It's been one of those days. I'll share with everybody, so in case they're wondering why am I in the car instead of at the station, I have a senior kitty cat who's going to be 17 this year. And she had a little issue late last night, into the night, and then this morning. And, of course, try to get into your regular vet in an emergency capacity while your vet is doing surgery. It's a little difficult.
Aww.
So, thankfully, she's at home resting. We did get there, but with Florida traffic.
Be aware, and many of the people that I've worked with here in South Florida, I've taken a 3-year sabbatical, remedies and rituals to activate your soul magic. I got accustomed to my washing machine, which I did not know how to use prior to all of this. And I really just needed to take that time to get in touch with myself, because throughout the course of my career, which had spanned about 25 years, I realized I had been building a lot of that through survival and fear. And it was time to really get clear with what my intentions were, clear out the cobwebs, do a lot of healing work, which I know that you do as well, and help hold space for other people to do. And once all of that started to unravel, then I really needed to take the next year or so off. So all in all, it became about 3 years of time that I was away from everything that I was used to doing. And I realized this time around I was building in a different mindset, a different headspace, a different foundation from what I had known in the past. So it feels really good to be back amongst women and sharing my truth again, because I think it's so desperately is something that all of us women need to do.
Absolutely. And I think when you say different mindset, part of that is not being in a space of need or a space of lack, but knowing that there's comfort in the relationship, comfort with your children, doing the right thing to look after your family.
Yes. Yeah, and so when you're creating from a space of survival, your intention, even if you're not aware, your subconscious intention is coming. I had worked in was in helping other people to stand out, because I had spent so much of my life feeling like I didn't fit in. So I became very in tune with being able to take my skill of making sure that I didn't get lost in the crowd, and cultivated that into a branding business and teaching people how to brand themselves, in particular women. And a lot of that was rooted in the foundation of abandonment, you know, as I had come to learn over the years of me doing my own healing work. So when I finally found my family and traveled halfway across the world to meet them, the very first thing that my father said to me was, "How come you didn't come back when you were 18?" And I am 46 years old, living my entire life believing that my family didn't want me. And here they had been looking for me ever since they actually gave me up, but they actually started doing a lot of the heavy lifting of the research for what they could do in their part of the world when I turned 18 and spent many, many, many years. And ultimately, my nephew found me on Facebook. So that part was pretty interesting. So it was a whole nother level of things to unravel.
It's amazing, really and truly. And we're going to continue with your story and sharing, but we're going to take just a quick break. And anyone who's been waiting to see the live stream, that should be, excuse me, that should be up and running in just a moment. So we will be right back with the Halley Elise Show. Thank you.
This is your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic. She is your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. Your guide to peace and wisdom. For a private appointment off air, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show with Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise.
Welcome back, everyone, and I apologize for the craziness, but listen, when you have children or you have pets or parents or family, how about anybody you love? Sometimes things happen and you just kind of go with the flow. I mean, thankfully, I'm not one of these people that freaks out. It's more a matter of, okay, what can I do to take care of things?
This message on Facebook one day in the spam folder, and there were many of them just like that, and I couldn't believe that it was something that really was real because I had gotten so many of them.
Right.
And there was an attachment, and I thought, well, every time I've clicked on an attachment, it wasn't anything that I should be looking at. So I clicked on the attachment. There was 2 baby pictures, and the gentleman said, this is you, this is your family, and we've been looking for you. And I have to say, 2.5 years later, I still am in shock from the whole thing. It's unbelievable.
Really puts your life in a totally different direction. As you said,
Sure.
You are marketing your business in a particular way based on, and I'm going to use the words, your story. Not that it doesn't have power, but we all have our individual point of reference, our stories, right. Whether true or not true, as long as we believe them, they have an impact on us. They have an effect. And so here you are all of these years, and all of a sudden it's like, whoops, nope, pivot.
Well, things started to unravel before that. I was already well into the mix of a dark night of the soul. I was doing everything I could to be healthy. I got a silver filling taken out of my mouth, and the silver from the filling actually poisoned my entire body. I thought I was going to die, and I finally got myself back together, and then my daughter got sick. So that was probably in the span of 2 years between hospitals and doctor visits, and then boom, that message on Facebook, and it's like, wow, am I even equipped
to handle?
I couldn't even believe it at first. But I wasn't working at that point, and when that happened, the first thing I could think of was I want to get on a plane as quickly as I possibly can and go to Iran. And as we know, that wasn't entirely possible either.
No.
So there was, I tell people I had the best year of my life and the worst year of my life at the same time.
Exactly.
And I wanted to go to Iran. It wasn't possible. My father is 80 2 years old. So it wasn't easy for him to travel. So we waited a couple of weeks and we got on a plane and we met in Armenia.
How amazing is that?
It was phenomenal.
I just can't even envision what that must have felt like, because it's something that you long for that you don't think you're going to have, and then there's the reality that you get to actually have that.
You're sitting face to face with people that look like you. I never had any reference points except for my 2 girls of what it looked like to have blood relatives.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're sitting there at the table. My husband and I had traveled 18 hours. We're sitting there at the dinner table. We're all exhausted. My sister, through translators, said, I wish that I had been the one that was adopted. And that's when I knew.
Wow.
I never thought that I had a gift in being here in America. I was always sort of resentful about that. When she said that, and then my father said, why didn't you come back when you were 18? It occurred to me in that moment that I was given such a gift that I had never even thanked my adoptive parents for. So I was able to come home and thank my mom and see them from a whole different perspective, because they loved that country when they were there and they adopted my sister and I.
Right.
But my sister and I grew up in a difficult scenario because we found it challenging to accept the fact that our families gave us up.
And that's understandable.
Right. And so every belief was formed from that point forward, the abandonment beliefs, the beliefs that everyone was going to betray me or leave me. And so I just buried my life into business because I figured that was the one thing that I could control.
Now, think about this, because you've had a lot of experiences with many women over the years, and how often do you hear a woman say, but I couldn't because of my husband, or I couldn't because of my family, or I couldn't because of money, or I couldn't because of. There's always that fill in the blank.
Right.
And you are helping women understand that they can circumvent what is taking place in the world. You are showing them that if they have a willingness, that it is possible to make changes that are not only relevant, but can help them be the success that they envision themselves.
Right.
So moving forward, obviously you're still remaining in touch with your family at this point.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, because I can't
now
just
there's a
pick up and go there.
Right, right.
There was one night we were there 6 days. We had a translator the entire time, and his wife was the photographer. So
it must have been exciting, though. I mean, really think about it. You're in this fantastic country, and
amazing.
You get to see all different types of sites, and you're communicating, and yet you have somebody on the side who's actually your communicator.
Yes. I've actually had several people who have stepped in to be our translators, and every one of them I've gotten very close to. There's been a lot of tears, very emotional things to discuss.
I'm sure.
Because my mother died right after I was born, so there was a lot to discuss regarding that and how I lived my life and what my journey was all about. But one night we didn't have the translator. He couldn't be there. And my husband and I were like, what are we going to do the entire night with our family? And there's no one to translate. Like, I maybe knew 2 words. It was the most fun of the entire week that we were together.
All of a sudden it becomes charades.
We were making up crazy things, making up names for stuff. We were laughing. We were walking the streets together. We had so much fun. And I was grateful for that night. In Iran, typically the men go in one room, the women go into another.
Yes.
So my sisters and I all went into the bedroom by ourselves, and my one sister brought all these gowns, and she was trying them all on. And
I believe that people can understand it unless they've had that sense of being abandoned.
I believe you're right. And you don't have to be adopted to have that abandonment feeling. I have a girlfriend who has lovely parents,
right?
But her parents were at work all the time. And so she grew up feeling like she was abandoned too, and it's penetrated her entire life as an adult with her own 5 children. So it doesn't just have to be that you're adopted, but there is that primal wound when you are adopted and separated from your mother that impacts every decision that you ever make.
Well, they say through epigenetics that whatever it is that you're experiencing, it affects a minimum of 4 generations down the line. Yeah. And so even if you are the best parent in the world, unless you've neutralized those feelings, your children inevitably have those same sorts of discomfort, that same sort of stress always attached in the world. Like there's that undercurrent. And not even when they go to therapy, a lot of times they'll say, oh, but you're safe, and, you know, be present and understand that you can move forward, and all these lovely things that sound good.
They don't satiate you now.
But they really don't integrate you into your life.
Yes. So very true. So we start to turn to vices. And for me, food was a big vice. I turned to food, and remember working with someone who was also a therapist but adopted. I mentioned him on Facebook just a couple days ago. And he shared with me that usually adoptees have addictions. And I was like, I don't have any addictions.
Interesting.
There's no addictions.
I've never thought of that.
My addiction was control, and my addiction was food. And so once I found my family, I didn't have those same desires for the vices that I had.
Right.
So food was gone. I didn't find myself needing it anymore. I started to lose lots of weight. I was very, I don't say addicted, but drawn to the color pink. As you probably know, you've known me for a while.
Yes.
Everything was pink.
Everything. I mean, absolutely everything.
Everything. My whole house was pink. Thank God my husband's colorblind.
And I think, don't you have some pink in your ring as well?
I do. I'm waiting to get those diamonds changed out. I do. Yes. I just saw everything through pink, and I understand that that's a color of comfort and safety. And
it represents love. It represents unconditional love.
Yes.
It's the idea of rosy colored glasses so you could have more peace and more ease in your world.
And feel connected.
Yes.
Even though I didn't know what I was connecting myself to. So once I found them, that need for all of that disappeared. And so in that 3-year time frame, it was actually a year and a half after I found them, I was still processing. I was still going through my dark night of the soul, and yet there wasn't the food and there wasn't the pink. So
now what you're going to do.
That's exactly what I would continuously say
right?
to myself. And I had no desire to do anything business related, and that was always my other vice, controlling everything about that. So I had to really learn to cope with who I was and figure out who I was and what I wanted in the world and
who you wanted to be, if you really think about it, because
minus
who
all
you
those
were
identities, right?
Was somebody who had crutches.
Yes, lots of them.
And they were important at the time, but as you said, you no longer needed them.
Yeah. And each of those crutches, Halley, has its own tentacles. There's multiple things that strings into. And
absolutely. Everything snowballs.
It does. And people don't realize this, but a lot of adoptees, we don't like doors closed behind us. So if I'm the only one in the room and someone gets mad and closes the door, that is a trigger.
Well, of course, because you feel like you're being cut off from the people you love.
Exactly.
And it's subconscious. It's not like in that moment you're thinking, oh, they closed the door. I can't open the door. That's not it. It's just
so it
automatic.
Impacts your relationships, every decision you make, and you tend to want to leave before you get left. And so I've had to be very aware of how I've done that in relationships, how I've done it in business, how I've handled the feeling that someone was leaving me, but they weren't leaving me. They were just separating because of their own business needs or their own personal needs.
Absolutely.
So it was a lot of that learning and growing, and here I am. It was just actually a week ago that I started again the journey of getting back out in the world again and sharing my truth, and I have lots of speaking engagements coming up. And
excellent. And I love the idea of the spark. I had shared with social media. I had the lady who works for me take care of that. So make sure you put the spark in there because that's important. And I put something on Instagram this morning and I was thinking it is so apropos. Sparking anew, lighting up, creating. And when we think about creation, there's that initial spark that happens. And you're stepping into that.
Yeah.
So tell us about the new program.
So you're right in what I shared with Spark. Spark launched on January 28th, and my goal was to create something. I used to charge a lot of money as a business coach.
Right.
And
that's not a bad thing. I want to clarify here so that people don't get, oh, well, you shouldn't. Well, yes, if you have a gift and you are a professional and you can help somebody, you're entitled to be compensated. Everybody needs to put food on the table, pay bills. And the reason I clarify is because oftentimes somebody will say, well, you have a knack for that. You should just do it. Or how come you charge so much?
Yeah. I believe in, we can tell a lot about someone's self-worth through what they charge. So I really do believe in charging what you believe is indicative of the value that you bring to the world. Exactly. However, a lot of the things that I used to charge for in coaching were not accessible to the masses. And so as I was getting ready to start again, I realized, you know what? I hadn't been in the workforce for 3 years. So much had changed. I wanted 15 different coaches to learn how to use Instagram, to learn how to blog. I needed photographs. I needed videos. I needed everything to really cultivate my brand into what I felt it is today. I need a new website. Multiple websites, actually. It's very expensive to start a business in this day and age, especially with what we do.
Absolutely.
So Spark, for me, I've always loved masterminding. For me, it was a way to bring women together and mastermind in an economical way, have fun, create great resourcefulness amongst each other, and reduce the need to have 15 different coaches to help get you where you're going. That was my main priority in that.
Well, the idea, that concept of each person helping one another, that's what comes to the table with this. You have somebody who's an expert in social media, and they're in the group. They're going to help that person who says, I don't know, when am I supposed to post on Facebook, or when am I supposed to post on Instagram, or whatever. You have that other person who is a videographer, or somebody else who has mastered a particular field. They can each help each other, and you're still going to make money, because I really believe when you do what you love and you do it with the intention of helping others, there's that universal flow. It's that reciprocity that comes in. And every one of those people involved have the opportunity of growing, of helping each other, and also making money.
Right. Yeah, and so for me, Spark represented something that anybody could attend, anybody could meet new people, and before I knew it, it took off. We decided that we were going to grow chapters all over the country, and I think I met you back when I had Women's Wellness Society years ago.
Yes, long time.
And I had found myself really missing that organization with all that I had been going through. Couldn't I just go to a Women's Wellness Society gathering?
Well, you could. It's a little different today.
It is. It's a little different today, and it's a whole other story how that whole company fell by the wayside, because I had offers to buy it, and I let the domain name go, and I knew at that moment that it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
But life went on, and I had just missed the community of women because I got used to being very isolated. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to do Spark. I put it out there, and it started to grow very quickly. From Spark, I simultaneously launched a new course called Ignite the Next Chapter, which actually just started the same week, last week. And we have 30 women who I use the power of intention to manifest in that course. And
hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday, so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic. She is your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. Your guide to peace and wisdom. For a private appointment, off air, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show with Empowerment Psychic Halley Elise.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, let's see if I can say it correctly again. I have my lovely guest, Kelly Keisha.
That's it.
Just making sure, because as I said initially, we always went back and forth, but it felt like it was supposed to be Keisha, but I wasn't sure, so we're covered. Before we took break, though, you were sharing about the new course that you've launched. So let everybody know about that, but also let them know what is it they personally will gain from the course.
Sure. So I started to find myself in that journey of not cultivating my own gifts. I started to find myself getting very sad and depressed that there was...
Bring the mic a little closer.
Sure. That I wasn't creating. You know, I feel impassioned when I'm creating, and I wasn't creating. And I prayed for a time when I'd be busy again like I once was. Mm-hmm. Because I knew this time around I was coming from a whole different perspective and energy.
Absolutely.
So I designed all of these programs in my art book, and I've been writing for the last several years anyway. Wrote a book, and I haven't launched that yet. I gave it away as a bonus, actually. And I thought, what would I want if I was in transition, if I was a woman in transition? Mm-hmm. What would I want? What kind of community would I want? What sort of accountability would I want? Yes. what sort of sisterhood would I want? And I created the course, Ignite the Next Chapter, around that premise. So
Excellent.
Spark is a once a month type thing, but this is an intensive 8 weeks together with women who are taking this journey of cultivating their greatest work yet.
I love it. So this is individual mentoring, and as you said, without saying it, intense.
It is. Anytime you do that self work is intense.
Well, it's it. When you start to pull back the different layers, you go, no, really? Now, have I been to? Oh, wow, that's me.
Exactly.
It's fun. It's a little scary, but the truth is, once you navigate through it, the benefits are immense. You remove obstacles that you did not even know existed in your life. So these types of courses are phenomenal because they literally can transform your entire life.
Yeah, and so my gift, Halley, is in taking someone's puzzle pieces, all of their life puzzle pieces, and bringing them together, illuminating them and bringing them together into something magical that they can create as their greatest work, be it a course or a radio show or a book or a speech or something that they do in the world that they've always wanted to do that they can't see for themselves. But once all the puzzle pieces are out, I'm able to help them bring it all together into something that they can monetize, brand, and then deliver to the world.
You make it congruent.
Yes.
And a lot of folks that come to me as well for a reading will say, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I find that fascinating because a lot of times I'm sitting across from somebody and I go, but wait, you're really creative and you love dogs and you this and you're that. And they're like, yeah. And I said, how is it you don't know what you're supposed to do?
You can hear them saying how good they are.
Because it's amazing. And I'll even say to them, but you're really great at, and they go, well, yeah, but I never thought about that for money.
They don't think that they can charge for it. Right.
They think if it's a gift,
they should just be giving it away.
Should just be given away. But I always remind everybody, when you go to see a concert pianist, they're getting paid for their performance.
Sure.
If you
Multiple people are.
Right. If you go to see any sort of concert or an artist, they're getting paid.
Yes.
Just because you have something that naturally comes to you doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be compensated.
Completely.
And this is where I think we're really venturing into a different realm in our society. People are starting to recognize that it's okay to use your gifts and create abundance. It's okay to love what you do and help others and not feel as if you're taking advantage, but you're actually enjoying it because it comes so naturally.
Yes.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, and when you're on stage or you're in circle and you're delivering value, there's no reason why you shouldn't get paid for your time and your energy, and that comes from within. It comes from believing that what you bring to the world is so valuable that it's going to save someone's life or impact someone's life, that you deserve to get paid for your time. It's not so easy to support a family with insurance and mortgages and all the things that we have to pay for in this day and
Car
age.
payments or repairs or what have you. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And then in between that, you take out the things that are practical. What about fun?
Yeah.
I mean, really, because how many people do you know spend their time working and that's all they can do because they have to meet their expenses? And you say to them, take a break or let's take a trip. And they go, no, I can't.
Well, there's been many a times in my life where money was not an issue, and yet I still couldn't have fun because I could not. If you and I went to the beach and I knew that you were in business, our whole conversation would be about business.
Right.
I did not know how to let the guard down. Yes. Driven, I think, from fear.
Yeah.
Driven from the energy of survival. And I recognize that now, but I did not know how to be friendly with people if it didn't include a business conversation. So that was interesting, too, because one of the things I committed to when I was home was to be on the phone a lot. I called my girlfriends all the time. I checked in with my family.
Actually talk to people.
Actually talking to people. And I tell you what, that's exciting. It's exciting to actually pick up the phone like we used to do and talk to people.
Yes, agreed.
And hear their voice.
I'm always telling everyone, put the phone away. We're going out for dinner, and put it away. Unless there's an emergency situation and you know you have to watch the phone because somebody's in the hospital or you're waiting on something.
Very addicting.
It's incredulous how addicting it is, and it's not just children.
No.
You look at 80-year-olds, and they're doing this. My mom cracks me up. Not that she's addicted, but I think there's a little borderline there.
Oh,
this
cute.
is the woman who always said, when you have dinner, you do not answer the phone.
But is she doing the slot machines like my mother-in-law does?
No, that she's not doing. But if the phone rings and we're having dinner, she's got to look at it. I mean, it's a necessity. And I'll say to her, Mom, we're eating. I just want to see who it is.
Is she single?
She is.
Well, maybe she's waiting for her date.
It could be, but I think it's more a matter of the phone's ringing. I want to know.
Yeah, it has that trigger that goes off that says we cannot just rest if we don't answer that email or pick up the phone to see who's texting us. And I tell my kids all the time, I want you to turn your notifications off because you can't have that.
You can't have peace. No.
You can't have peace if it's dinging all day long.
Exactly.
You can't focus. It takes a lot of time to get back into focus again once your attention is drawn away. So
it's the focus. It's also the energy that's connected to it. I always share with everyone that the electromagnetic energy that comes off the phone, you don't want in your space 24/7.
Right.
That's not healthy. We're not supposed to be dealing with those types of frequencies day in and day out 24/7. You are supposed to remove it from your space. The idea is to use the phone and every other little device that we have as a tool. I mean, think about it. If you were a plumber, would you take your pipes to bed with you?
I'm telling you what, I was just thinking that
it's just amazing.
Before I came here, we had the rotary phone. Before I came here today, I was thinking we had the rotary phone. I got 10 minutes a night on the phone. My dad would set the microwave to 10 minutes. If I wasn't off in 10 minutes, he would literally just push the button, and that's all we got. And yet these kids are living with their phones 24/7.
Yes. And sleeping with them and keeping them on all night. And I think the most amusing thing is when somebody says to me, I called you and I left 3 messages. Okay, and? Well, you didn't call me back.
The expectation is that you're always available.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry, but my phone was off. Well, why is it off? It was after business hours.
Yeah.
You turned your phone off? I mean, literal shock. How could you turn your phone off? I had a woman's message on the phone. It was really funny when I checked this morning, and I checked about 9 o'clock, who phoned at 10 o'clock last night and said, hi, I'm in town only for tomorrow, and I want to come in. And I'm looking at the phone, and I'm going, well, that's nice, but it doesn't work that way. I don't pick up the phone at 10 o'clock at night for scheduling, and I actually have people on the book today. But it's that instant society.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
Yes.
But that brings me back to what you're doing in respect to helping individuals. And the reason I say individuals, even though the primary focus is women, you would never turn anybody away. And I've actually seen men at your events before.
Yes, you have.
So
I had one man move from Germany to actually work with me a few years ago.
Right. And I remember that, again, it may be primarily focused on women, but it's not just about women. It's about helping the individual to be able to truly aspire to be what they know they can be. And can you imagine you're in the middle of sitting face to face and you're sharing something and they're getting it and the light bulb is going on and their phone rings and they go, yeah, just a minute.
Yeah.
Sue? Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, While you're sitting across from them? How does that translate into empowerment?
Yeah, I think that the idea of being present has become so diluted. And so with Spark, mindfulness is a big piece of what we do because we start with mindfulness, we end with mindfulness, and then we have creativity and innovation mixed in between. Because those are two things that I feel that we're in a constant effort as business women to continue to evolve and to grow and to communicate about. But if we're not present and we're not being mindful about the way in which our perspective on things or the way in which we move about the world, then it's me back to where I used to be before all of this happened. It's doing business out of survival as opposed to coming from complete abundance and coming from joy and not using it as a tool to satiate that
you're not filling a
inner
hole.
child, right?
Right, not filling a
who
hole.
Who didn't feel safe.
That's huge. I want to share with everyone that they can call in and have a chat with Kelly this evening. You didn't know that, did you? Or you can phone in if you had a psychic question. It's 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. And I'd love to say that you could type in a message on Facebook, but I'm not seeing it on the screen this evening. You know me, tech issues, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But I will tell you that if you're on Facebook and you're in the chat and you write something in there, I will make sure to take a look at it as soon as it comes back, and I'll give you an information. That's good. I'll give you an answer. That's good.
How exciting. You do psychic readings right on here.
Oh, sure.
Who wouldn't want to call in?
Sure.
Can I call in?
Well, you have to leave the room first to call in so we can
Hey,
pretend
you
that
did
it's
that,
not
so
you.
I could do that.
Well, that was a different. It's my show.
I love that.
And I'd love for you to share with everybody your website, a little bit of information. I know you have more than one website, but in respect to Spark, so that they can get a little more involved, have a better understanding, as well your meetup.
Okay. So Spark is sparkinthecity.com, and that is right here in Boca Raton. We meet at Farmer's Table on the last Monday of the month.
I think that was sparked by a group of women that met there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we're actually growing chapters all over the country. So we will have, we're opening up spaces now for chapter leaders to take over their city in their particular state, their area. And what's exciting about that is I've taken my programs now that I've created, and I've created a win-win. So the chapter leaders will be able to make money. We'll be able to co-collaborate, co-create,
Excellent.
make money together. So it's not just me making all the money. It's everybody winning together. So if a Spark chapter is being led by someone, it'll be just as good as having a part-time job. And if they offer, say, Ignite the Next Chapter course, they can make a large portion of money on that as well.
Beautiful.
So that we're all sharing in the wealth. I love that.
Beautiful. Okay, again, give them the website. I want to make sure that everybody hears this and has an opportunity to take a look.
It's sparkinthecity.com, and if you live anywhere outside of Boca, I'm actually going on tour starting Sunday with my daughter Kayla.
You were saying, which
and
I think
that is
amazing.
IgniteTheNextChapter.com. So you can check out either one of those, and I'd love to answer questions if you want to call in related
Perfect.
to adoption or business or just
Empowerment.
living a yummy, messy life, which
There
is
you
my
go.
new brand, by the way.
Yummy and messy. I
Yes.
saw that and I was, I'm not sure, because we have a mutual friend who uses Juicy.
Oh,
And-
yes, Lisa.
Yes. And I'm thinking, okay, we're getting into Juicy, we're getting into Yummy. Everybody wants to eat life.
You know,
See,
it's
I'd rather
such-
bask in it.
Oh,
I want
me
to
too.
bask in the light.
Me too. Me too. So
We're
Yummy.
hold on one second,
Okay.
honey. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and hear more about a yummy, messy life. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to empowerment psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic. She is your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. Your guide to peace and wisdom. For a private appointment off air, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show with empowerment psychic Halley Elise.
Welcome back, everyone. Just before we took a break, we were going to hear about a yummy, messy life.
So let me just share a little bit about that, because when I started to think about, well, I'm such a visionary type person. So when
Right.
I started to think about how I would want to describe what life was for me, you know, the yummy piece, I think, used to categorize food. Not so much anymore. It's more the dichotomy between the yummy parts of our lives and
Okay.
the messy parts. For instance, I did a lot of asking questions with my girlfriends about Botox. I don't have any Botox. I've considered Botox. I have a lot of questions, and I didn't know who to ask. So these are the things that we should talk about. One of the things I posted on Facebook today was the fact that as entrepreneurs, we never learned how to correctly bookkeep. No one ever came in. We
True.
all got started.
Very true.
Started making money, and no one ever said, hey, you got to keep books and pay quarterly taxes.
Yes,
so
I found that out the hard way.
Yes, I think we all did. So it's the messy stuff, Haley, that I want to pull the curtains back and say, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about hormones. We need to talk about menopause. We need to talk about the things that most women don't talk about.
That's because it used to be taboo. I mean, really think about it. Women that were in the 50s, the 60s, we were young in the 60s, 70s, really wasn't acceptable to bring up a lot of these subjects.
And our mothers definitely didn't bring it up.
No, they were behind closed doors if you spoke about it, or if you were a rebel, you would go out and mingle with the wrong types of people so that you could get information. You kind of did your own research, being present in the environment, but it wasn't commonplace.
Right.
Today, it's good and it's bad in the sense of there are no limits. And on one hand, that's phenomenal because we can speak about these types of things that are so important in our life and we shouldn't be blindsided about, such as taxes.
Yeah.
You have to pay taxes, but you don't necessarily know how to figure them out or how to keep track of your expenditures or any of that unless somebody's shown you. Or investing. How many women do you know really know the fundamentals of investing?
We don't talk about those things. We just don't.
And years ago, it was men.
How many women will sit down and talk about infidelity? Nobody wants to admit that they went through challenging times in their relationship. People message me all the time on Facebook. I love you and Cliff's relationship. I love how you guys have that phenomenal dynamic together, the intimacy. We've been together almost 13 years, and we've had some really painful years in those 13 years. And I'm always sure to make sure that I say that to people. I don't want them to think
it wasn't immediate. It wasn't you met and everything was hunky-dory
for 13 years.
Right. It doesn't work
blending
that way.
4 children and careers and crazy life. We both came with our baggage. We were young. And we've had our challenges. And so it's all of those things when I start my podcast, which will be the Yummy Messy Podcast. We're going to be pulling the curtain back on because I do want to talk about the taxes. I was good at making money. I was not good at organizing money because that part of my life was being run by my inner child, and I was very clear about that. I didn't want to adult in that area of my life.
That's tough, but it's also that idea of, okay, as a small child, maybe money wasn't as easily accessed. Or if you raised money selling lemonade or doing a paper route, your parents might have said, oh, honey, you can't hold on to this. We have to put this away for you.
Doesn't grow on trees
Doesn't
either.
grow on trees, yes. all of those lovely things. How about don't pick that up? You don't know where it's been. Put that down. Don't touch that money. So what are the messages that you get about money? And then you become an adult and you go, okay, I have to move beyond this. I have to do it because I have to take care of myself. Now what I do. I know that mentorship, no matter how successful you are, is very important.
It's extremely important.
Coach to me is a buzzword. I mean, all kidding aside, it's a very popular word. A lot of people use it. I don't have a problem with it. I personally don't like it for myself, because I see mentoring and coaching in a different view, but that's just my personal perspective on it. For me, the coach is the cheerleader. It's the one who's saying, okay, consistently and constantly, did you do this? Did you get your homework done? Did you take care? For me, it's more, here's the information. I'm here for support if you want it, but I'm not holding your hand because I want you to be the adult.
Yes.
And whatever your comfort level is the one that you're going to gravitate towards. But that brings me full circle in respect to being mentored. I know some very, very successful people that are billionaires, and they have mentorship, and they have coaches, and they'll be the first ones to say, I don't know it all. I think we get so caught up sometimes in our focus of making money or making our business successful, and we've done that, so that means we can't learn anything.
Right.
And it's not true.
It's not.
There is so much more to learn constantly, and I don't care how successful you are. As we were saying off the air, we were talking about social media and our particular age group, and a little older, a little younger, that on certain venues, you're not necessarily looking for business from us. You're looking for cooking ideas, or there's an expectation. Let me rephrase this. There's an expectation of what's going to be put out or what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
That makes it a little bit more challenging
It feels very defeating.
How do you do it?
For me, coming back, it felt very defeating. I just shared about this the other day, too. Going on Instagram, and you're seeing these beautiful 30-something year olds with their gorgeous filters through this entire stream of pictures, and you're thinking, I don't have the lighting, I'm not a photographer, I don't know how to make my pictures look that way, and I'm starting Yummy Messy Life on Instagram with 1 follower, and they have 5 million. It felt very defeating. And then I realized, Halley, that women of our age group, women who are going through middle life now and looking at, what are their what does the second half look like for them?
Right.
We're not spending a lot of time on Instagram. We're not looking for things the same way on Instagram. We're not taking 12 hours to take a picture and edit it so that we can make sure it matches.
I don't have that much time. I don't know about you.
I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the energy for it. So at first I was very caught up in it, and now I realized that, I still love Facebook. I like Instagram, but starting with 1 follower was very humbling when I was so used to always being ahead of the curve.
Right. Always having all those people behind you. I know for myself, as I mentioned, I've only been on for about 2 months, 2.5 months, and I put myself on there and I thought, well, we'll see. And then I was thinking, well, what is supposed to be appropriate statistics? If you're on for a period of time, what are the numbers? What is it you're supposed to do? I had no clue even how to operate it because I had never been on it. Now, my nieces, of course, they can tell you about Snapchat and Instagram and this one and that one. And I'm going, all right, listen, I've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I've added Instagram. I think I'm good because
I don't even use Twitter or LinkedIn. I can't handle it. I don't have Snapchat either.
LinkedIn, I've just started to really take advantage of because it's a great tool for business people. But I have to say, it's similar to the idea of the other one we were speaking about.
It is.
Got onto it, I don't know how long ago, and I never looked at it again because I didn't have the time to study.
There's too many to choose from, and LinkedIn is another one whereby I don't want to have to, every time I turn my phone on, click on this app, click on that app, because I can get swept away so quickly, and the next thing you know,
most people can, yes.
2 hours has passed by and I've not gotten anything done. So for me, it's really important to stay focused, and my husband did something very interesting to my phone. He put this alert on there that tells me how many times I picked up my phone in a day.
Oh, interesting.
And how much FaceTime, like literally time I had looking at my phone throughout the day. So it's very humbling when you see, okay, you were looking at your phone 11 hours throughout a 24-hour period.
I haven't even done FaceTime. What does that tell you?
Well, not FaceTime per se, but it's an app that just shows you how much time your face was actually looking at your phone.
I'm saying you mentioned FaceTime. I haven't even looked at that one
I'm
either.
going to call you on FaceTime later so you can get used to that one. That's interesting, too, when people call you and you're not even ready, but all of a sudden you're
and then their face is there.
Your face is there, their face is there. So I finally just
Probably why I don't use it.
I stopped going on Facebook with makeup because I thought, if you see me in the grocery store, I don't want to shock you. If you FaceTime me, I don't want to shock you. And my family from Iran always calls on video, too, so I don't have a choice to hurry up and get ready. I got to pick up the phone.
You can't say 1 second.
Yeah, their time zone's 8.5 hours later than ours. So when they call, I've got to be ready.
I want to let everyone know we have a few minutes left for this evening. If you want to call, if you have a question for Kelly, 888-565-1470. If you have a question for me, I know that earlier on we had callers, but I had Kenny say wait because I really wanted to get into the meat of things with you, and it wasn't that I didn't want to speak to you folks, so my apologies if you thought you were being shunned. That's not the case. Just kind of had an idea of how this evening was going. So you do have a couple of minutes left. One more time, 888-565-1470. And what's funny is when I have this happen, I get messages after the show.
How come you didn't pick up the phone?
Yes, exactly.
They know where to find us on social media,
exactly.
right?
Social media. There you go. Facebook, maybe not Instagram, maybe Instagram. I have to connect with you on Instagram, you see. And I didn't even know till recently how to do a search on there. How sad is that?
I knew how to do a search because I have my kids showed me. If it wasn't for the kids, I don't know that I'd know how to do a whole lot of anything. Whenever something's wrong with the phone, I just hand it to them.
I've gotten better at being able to take a look at these things when I have the time to sit there and play because I'm not afraid to push buttons. Some people say, oh, no, I can't do that.
Right.
I'll push and see what happens.
Exactly.
Sometimes things happen that I don't like, and I turn it off really quick.
Yeah.
My phone has been turned off quite a lot lately. It's kind of funny.
Good for you.
We actually have a caller. Hello, caller. Who's this?
My name is Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne. Were you calling for Kelly or for me?
For you.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Pardon?
I was trying to get some information about my career.
Okay. I can tell you that it's been a bit wonky for a while. It's not just all of a sudden, but a lot of it has to do with you not being as clear as you need to be about what you want. I know you're going to say, but no, I know what I want. But let me share something with you. I don't know if you caught earlier when we were talking about doing the things that we love to make money. I feel like you've been working to make money, not doing the things that you love to make money. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. We are in, what are we in? We're in February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, by July, there's a door that's opening up here. And I'm going to suggest that you do a little research about the things that you love doing and see how there's a corollary for you to get into business. Because in this few month period, when that door opens, if you take advantage of it, you are going to be more content than you've ever been. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Kelly, thanks so much for being on. Real quick, give everybody the website for Spark.
SparkinthecityCity.com, and we'll see you on February 25th here in Boca.
Perfect. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in this evening. I hope you had as much fun as we did, and we'll be back next week with the Halley Elise Show at the regularly scheduled showtime, which is 6:30. Tonight was a special hour. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Remember to tune in every week at this time on WWNN for more peace, information, and psychic phenomena with empowerment psychic Halley Elise, Top 100 Psychic. The opinions expressed on the